from me. So, yes.
Can you do the boys one too?
I'm going to try, yes. All right, the whole key is, do I have time? That's not always an easy thing. Okay. Let's get started on today's quiz because the results were a little encouraging, but also a little bit depressing. So let's go through them step by step and make sure that we understand what it is we need to do. Now, what's really cool about this quiz is it shows you some this isn't everything we've done. Tom, grab that. It's not everything we've gone over, but it's a lot of the skills we've gone over. So you should be able to do these skills and be able to get all of them right. But that did not happen on the quiz. So, and again, I don't really care about the first quiz. I care about the second and third quizzes. The first one is just to tell you what it is we want you to know. Okay, so here I have one that says order of operations, and I have to multiply and I have to do an exponent. What do I do first? Exponent. So what's 3 squared? 9. Now I'm going to do the multiplication. What's negative 2 times negative 4? 8. So now, remember, no such thing as subtraction. I have a positive 8 and a negative 9. What does that add up to?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. Okay? All right. Are we with me here, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, simplify. What do I have to do to get this right? What do I have to do to get this right? Multiply what? Yeah, what's the word for the 5 and the 4? Starts with a C, Rach? Coefficients. And then what do I do to the exponents? Remember, there's really a 1 there. Add them. Now, a lot of people put 20. Rach, you with me here? A lot of people put 20n to the second. It's not going to be 20n to the second. It's going to be 20n to the third. Everybody say good morning, Dr. Mays.
Good morning, Dr. Mays.
What's up?
Good morning.
Yeah, I always say good morning. It doesn't matter what time of day it is.
Oh, I just realized we're just visiting.
Oh, okay. All right, so listen, we just gave you guys a quiz, and I noticed that a lot of people put this as, not a lot, but probably about 5 kids, put this as an answer. 20n to the second, the correct answer was 20n to the third. Where do you think those people might have gone wrong? Chris?
They forgot to put the 1 next to the other and
Yes, and if they forgot to put it, then what do they forget to do?
Add.
They forget to add it. So I don't really care that you guys draw it on your paper, but I do care that you realize it's there. So whether you want to write it or not a big deal, but I do want you to remember it's there because n squared times n is n to the third. Now, this is what technology, the limitations of technology. The program I use for Word on my computer is like 2014. And do you remember what year we got these computers? 2009,
I was going
8?
to say it's probably been about 5 years.
Yeah.
Close to it.
So my version of Word is newer than their version of Word. So when I load a document done on my computer into this computer, you get gibberish. So I have to recopy this question down. And it says 28 n to the 5th m to the 12th over 7n squared m to the 4th. All right, so I'm taking a look at this. Who wants to tell me the rule we have to apply here or the technique we have to apply? Go ahead, Ishmael, fire away. Divide what? Do you remember what word we use for the 28 and the 7, what we call these things? Very good. Coefficients it is. And then what do I do to the exponents? Caitlin? Subtract them. Good. 28 divided by 7, everybody? 4. Nice. N to the?
Third.
M to the?
8.
Sweet. Now, if you got, Dr. Mays, you don't know this, but we give quizzes in a series of 3. And they will get one that looks just like this tomorrow. So the purpose of today's is to diagnose where we're a little off. And then the next 2 we get it straight. How many people got one of these questions wrong, 1, 2, or 3, and they're looking at it like I should not have made that mistake? Okay? So before you start homework tonight, you go back and you go over this quiz, and I don't think it's going to require a tremendous amount of effort on your part. It's just a reminder. Okay, that's why I have that Remind 101 app we just filled into our phones. Just to remind you that I'll be at the library tomorrow night. Just to remind you that there's an upcoming test when that happens next week, and so on and so forth. Reminders are beautiful things. All right, now, negative 2x to the 5th to the third. That means if I'm going to cube something, I got to multiply it 3 times. Negative 2x to the fifth, negative 2x to the fifth, negative 2x to the fifth. Isn't that what cubing something means? Right? To write it 3 times? Doesn't x cubed mean x times x times x? Hey, head the game. Right? And doesn't x stand for anything? So this isn't anything. Negative 2x to the fifth. It stands for that. It stands for a Rachel. It stands for a Thomas. It stands for a house. It stands for anything. All right. So let's apply the same exact rule that Ishmael just told us a minute ago. He said we multiply coefficients, or that was divided. Multiply was before that. Negative 2 times negative 2. Go ahead. Good. Times negative 2. Negative 8. Nice. Now I'm going to add exponents. X to the fifth, x to the fifth, x to the fifth is x to the 15. Sweet. Okay. And last but not least, express in scientific notation. Do you know what the number 1 wrong answer was? By the way, this is what I tell the beauty of the quiz. Tell the class the beauty of the quizzes is. They don't only get to see what they do wrong. I get to see what I didn't get across well enough. This is the number 1 wrong answer.
Wait.
That's what first off, most people got it right. But those who got it wrong, that's what they wrote.
Oh, I thought.
What did they do wrong?
Wait, never mind.
Derek?
They didn't count before.
Yeah, they didn't count the place for the 4. And kids will do that a lot. They went 3, 6, and they'll say to themselves, I need to stop when I run out of zeros. But that's not when you stop. When do you stop?
When you get a number between 1 and 10.
That's right. 54 is not between 1 and 10. So I go one more place, and that gives me 5.4 times 10, not to the 6th, 10 to the 7. Very good. All right. So this is a very good summary of most of the skills we've learned over the first couple of weeks. If you can't get that right, when you go home tonight and you work on the things, you get them right for tomorrow, and then you walk in and you say, I know what I'm doing. I'm confident that the things that they're asking me to learn, I'm actually learning. All right.
And I'm amazed that I was at least able to answer 1 through 4.
There you go.
That was pretty amazing.
Very cool. All right. Now, let's rock here. We're going to do all about positive exponents today, negative exponents, and so on and so forth. 1.2 times 10 to the negative 5th. Uh-oh. We got Gypsy Rider here. Gypsy Biker is thinking she's going to nail it. Go ahead.
0.0001.
1, 2, 3, 4, 12. Perfect. Ready? Let's go backwards because it's so much easier to check going backward. Rach, you with me here? You look like the carbohydrates are getting to you now. Getting that carbohydrate coma going on there? That flush of carbs where you're like, Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Since it's a 0 point, it's negative. So there's my negative exponent. 1.2 times 10 to the negative 5. That is right here what we're trying to make sure we understand. The scientific notation is negative exponents. Who wants to tell me about 3.08 times 10 to the 7? Now we're getting into positive exponents. Somebody who hasn't helped me yet. I've had a lot of help. A lot of different people have helped, but I haven't gotten it from a lot of people. Elena. Fire away. What do we get? 5 zeros? No, not 7 zeros. You see, Elena's making the mistake that she thinks this means the number of zeros. The 7 does not mean the number of zeros. Who wants to tell Elena what the 7 means? Chris?
How much places do you
How many
go to?
places? So we already have 2 places being used here when we say 0, 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? If you go backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's places. That exponent is how many places we move the decimal. It is not how many zeros. What you just did is the number 1 most common mistake. Okay? All right. Next up, oh, this is the lesson from the other day. Let's see who can be very impressive, because this has that additional couple of steps rocking it out. Derek thinks he's good. All right, fire away, Derek. What do you think the answer is?
12 times 10 to the 11.
All right, you want the good news or the bad news? The good news is, so far, so good. The bad news is, you're halfway to shore. We got one more step.
What about the decimal?
Yeah. Is 12 between 1 and 10? No. So what do we do to get the 12 between 1 and 10? All right, and to do that, I needed to divide by 10. Now, can I just take an answer and divide it by 10 and think it's the same? No. So if I divide by 10, what do I have to do to balance that out? Multiply by 10. So we're going to multiply by 10 there. And what do we say is up here that we don't bother to write? 1. So now I get 1.2 times 10, not to the 11th, 10 to the 12th. This right here, folks, is as hard as it gets with multiplying, and it is exactly what is going to appear on the state test. They put it on constantly, all the time. So we have to master this question, and we taught it for the first time Friday, had a weekend, and we're not bad. You know you're going to see this on every Do It for like a week. So I'm confident. I think we're doing pretty well. All right, a huge university has 2.5 times 10 to the 4th students. The school budget's 25, times 10 to the 9th dollars for staff. How much money is spent on the staff per student? Interesting word there. What does per mean? What operation? No. Division. Remember when we do like miles per hour? You divide by the hours. So whenever I see the word per, I always think of miles per hour. That's always where I go with. So I have to divide by the amount of students. So I have 25 times 10 to the 9th. See how it says per student? Sometimes it's, how many people have a hard time with word problems? You can confess, all right? You have to look for certain hits. The word per means to divide, and what are you going to divide by? You're going to divide by students. So I look through here, and it says this is the number of students. So that has to go in the bottom. Okay. Let's see who is comfortable with numbers here. What do you think 25 divided by 2.5 is? 25 divided by 2.5. Failure of the elementary system. 10 times, what do I do to these exponents? Subtract them, good. 10 times 10 to the 5th. Am I done?
No.
That's right. I got to do what I just did a minute ago. I got to divide by 10, then I multiply by 10, and I get 1 times 10 to the 6th. I'm sorry it doesn't fit, but I'm afraid you guys can't see it down here. So it's 1 times 10 to the 6th. The nephew?
Okay. 25 times 10 over 9. How is that?
Well, that number is not in scientific notation, but I can use that too. It's just the answer I wanted expressed in scientific notation. Okay? Any questions on this, guys? All right, so
Homework, 'cause when you get like to the lesson.
yeah, the lesson today, we're just going to keep working on what we've been doing the last couple of days. First off, 3 to the 4th is what? Just tell me it with exponents. Hey, 3 to the 4th is what? Tell me with exponents. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Very good. Okay. So this is going to be 3 times 3. Oh, bang! Stop. Not use the board. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. You want to see a really quick way to do this?
Yes.
Really super quick? Ready? What's 3 times 3? What's 3 times 3?
9.
What's 9 times 9? 81.
Oh my god, that's magic.
People are better at doing that than they are doing,
Does that work all the time?
oh yeah, because it's the commutative property of multiplication. You can switch order. All right, next. Negative 3 to the 4th. What do you think that is? Negative 81. Good. What do you think negative 3 in parentheses to the 4th is? 81. Good. And what about 3/4 to the 3rd? We're going to do this. Ready? It's going to be both 3 to the 3rd and 4 to the 3rd. 3 to the 3rd is 27. 4 to the 3rd is 64. Okay? All I want you to realize with this is when it's a fraction, it goes to both of them. That's all. Okay. All right, next one. If n is, now this was all part of the do it here. It's kind of hard to know what we're looking for here. If n is even, the answer will be positive. If it's odd, what will the answer be? Negative. Okay. See, I'll do an even number of them. Let's do 4 of them. Ready? What's a negative times a negative? When I multiply by this negative, it makes it positive. I multiply by this negative, it makes it negative. I multiply by this negative, it makes it positive. And then if there's an odd number of them, I wouldn't have that one at the end, so it would come out negative.
Because I probably would have passed like every single thing instead of having all the other teachers. I mean, Mr. Beebe and Mr. Orange were good teachers, but at the same time, no.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll get to the point where we make up for that. Now, okay, listen, do you feel how you're just like a little bit distracted? Rach, head in the game here? Okay? What we want to do is we want to make sure that we're comfortable with what's going on with scientific notation. First, a reminder. Let's talk about something that we did the other day. Ready? 3n to the 5th times 3n to the 7th is what? Everybody, hey, this should be automatic now. 3n to the 5th times 3n to the 7th. What do we get? 9. N to the 12. 5 and 7 is 12. Okay.
I knew that.
Now, what do I get when I multiply 3 times 10 to the 5th and 3 times 10 to the 7th? What do I get? 9 times
47.
12. So you can see the parallels here, okay? Now, we get a little bit more complicated. We get a little bit more complicated sometimes if we have to get numbers that are bigger than 10. Then we have to make an adjustment. Let's see what happens here. What do you think 2 times 10 to the 4th times 4 times 10 to the 14th? Juan, head in the game here, right? You're going off into la-la land. Head in the game. What are we going to get here? Or Jason, whatever. I just remember marker, and I had a Juan marker for many years, so I had to learn that one. Now I got to relearn it. Selena, talk to me. Multiply the coefficients here. What do we get? The coefficients are the numbers in front. So you just want to multiply them. 2 times 4 is? 8. Good. Max, talk to me. What do I do with these exponents here and here? Good. Times 10 to the 18th. Do I need to manipulate anything, or is that already in scientific notation form?
That's good.
It's already there, so we're good. Okay, good. Now, let's do the division one. What's 8 divided by 4? 2 times 10 to the, well, that's a big number. 912 take away 4 is? 908. That's a lot of zeros. The clock's very broke. 908. Everything we just did, the quiz, the do it, this, I think you should be comfortable with. I think you should look at it and feel like, I can process this, I can get it done. Marga, you're doing the la-la thing again. Getting that carbohydrate coma going on. Okay. Do this one. Now you got 3 things to multiply.
Oh my God, that is.
Hey, when you put your knees under the desk. Notebooks out. Let's go. No, you can do work. Let's go. Hey, Chris, you gotta have your book out. You gotta have your sheet working it, right? Chris, where's your sheet? That's what you should be working off of right now. Okay. What is 5 times 7?
35.
And what's 35 times 2?
70.
Times 10 to the, what do I do to these 3 exponents?
Add.
Good. That's 10 to the 30. Am I done? No, why not?
You gotta put decimal into the 7.
Okay, so I divide by 10 here, multiply by 10, and I get 7. times 10 to the 31. Okay? Any questions? All right, let's skip this one, go to the next one. Divide. I like the guy.